House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan pushing to block funding for the FBI's new headquarters unless it relocates to Huntsville, Alabama. This as the Justice Department indicts whistleblower Gal Luft on charges that he failed to register as a foreign agent and arms trafficking. House Republicans were hoping to interview him on this information that he says he gave to the FBI about the Biden family business dealings. Luft instead was arrested by DOJ in Cyprus in February. At that time, he tweeted this: "The DOJ is trying to bury me to protect Joe, Jim, and Hunter Biden. Shall I name names?" Joining me right now is the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Speaker, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria. Glad to be back on.
And I know you've got an op-ed on this subject right now, and I want to talk to you about this weaponization. You saw this early on and created that subcommittee on weaponization of our federal agencies. What do you see happening here?
Well, we've watched the justice system not be fair. I mean, you look across from the Capitol, you have the Supreme Court, you have Lady Justice there that has a blindfold on and a scale that's supposed to be equal. What we've watched time and again, the lies to the American public, the way people are treated based upon their political beliefs, that has got to stop. So we created the weaponization committee to go and look at these avenues. We've also created numerous different committees. The China Select Committee to make sure America is prepared going forward, that we are not dependent upon China for critical minerals and others. But all this information that you're finding out about the Biden family, that is work that is being done right now from investigations that are coming forward from the IRS whistleblower, we're finding out. And an interesting thing I think people have to look at, what's coming out of oversight. 16 of the 17 payments that Romania paid to the Biden family came while the then President Biden was vice president. It's interesting how they set this system up. Anybody that watches this show that runs businesses, they actually get paid for the product they make. Why do you run shell companies? Why do you try to hide from it? Why, when he becomes vice president, why does his family create almost 20 companies, shell companies, in this process? It's very concerning, and I think people have to get the answers to the bottom of this so they know what's going on.
So, I mean, there were 20 shell companies that these foreign adversaries or foreign nationals were sending to the shell company. They were sending money to the shell companies, and the shell companies were sending those money to the Biden family accounts.
It goes exactly as those who warned the FBI on that 1023 that said it'd be hard to find, take you more than 10 years because the way they run the money. But we found as soon as the money comes into one shell company, 1/3 of it goes within the next time frame down to the Biden family, that then goes into different members of the Biden family. They don't produce anything. And think of the companies, the countries we're talking about: Romania, Ukraine, China, Russia. Why aren't they doing any business with the UK, with France, with Germany, if they're an expert when it comes to whatever they're working on? It seems odd to me.
Now, Speaker, I know that you do not take impeachment lightly. You've said many times we have to get the evidence, we have to do the work. We're not going to just come in like a bull in a china shop and start trying to impeach everybody. But you made the decision to mention impeachment the other day, the potential of impeachment for Attorney General Merrick Garland. This has to be serious for you to raise this, because I know you've said it umpteen times. You're not going to come in willy-nilly and just try to throw impeachment around. What are you most concerned about?
Well, there's a reason why I won't do that, because I watched what it did to our country. I watched what Adam Schiff, when he politicized something, when we wouldn't go through due process. I raised the question about impeachment inquiry, and the reason I raised that question is based upon what the IRS whistleblower has told us. He said that David Weiss, in a meeting of 6 people, said he got denied to have a special counsel. He was denied to prosecute. Why did Hunter Biden, why did they wait 6 years so the statute of limitations on one of the most serious elements of Hunter Biden, where he doesn't have to pay on hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes, to go to the side? Why they move indictments faster on other people? Well, based upon that meeting and based upon what Garland has told us, someone is lying. And in doing so, I raised the question is, we have to know who in this process is lying. And if it is found that that Attorney General Garland is lying, that rises to the level of an impeachment inquiry. And that would be a different investigation, and that would be based upon the facts of what we know.
Well, I mean, does a dereliction of duty raise to the occasion of impeachment? I mean, look at the border, wide open, 7 million people crossing, breaching into America on Joe Biden's watch, and Alejandro Mayorkas keeps telling us it's a secure border. No, it's not. What about a dereliction of duty? Does that rise to the occasion of impeachment?
You know, if you watch, every committee has their oversight in their investigation. We are doing numerous things as we go through here.
Okay.
One, we passed a bill to secure our border. Something that the Democrats have not done is sitting over there. We have passed a bill to make us energy independent, to lower the price. We have passed bills to make us more secure and safe in our streets. We've passed a bill to Parents' Bill of Rights. We're actually keeping our word for exactly what we said we would do in the commitment to America. We also have an element of holding government accountable, and that's what you're finding time and again as we walk through. And Chairman Green has been working on the border and actually the investigation of that process as well.
Yeah, no, I know, and you've passed a lot of bills, and I know that half of this stuff we're talking about every day, we would never even know had it not been for the Republicans in the majority, because it would not be transparent. But, Speaker, you keep getting stonewalled even so. Let's face it, Gal Luft was just indicted. Okay, this was one of your key whistleblowers. I want to get your take on what you're going to do about it, because how many more whistleblowers are going to come forward after knowing that this guy who tried to tell the FBI and the DOJ what he knew about the transactions, business deals in the Biden family, now he had to go on the run and now is getting indicted?
Well, Maria, if you look at what has transpired since we've taken the majority, we've now found that those 51 members that have been former CIA and others, we came forward and found that they lied. We now know where COVID originated from. Each day we make progress. It might not be as fast as everybody wants, but the one thing we will do is, as you know from me, I will never give up on the American public. And we have new whistleblowers coming forward, and we're able to protect them. But what we're doing as we walk through is showing the truth, not playing politics with it, but showing the truth. And today we'll have Director Wray before us, and he's going to have a lot of questions to have to answer. At the same time, we're moving our appropriation bills that now we're able to save $2.1 trillion, something no Congress has been able to do before. We've got work requirements to reform welfare. We've got abilities to do things different than before, and we're all doing that with only having a 5-seat majority in the House. And that's why when we work together and when we focus, it's not just Republicans. We ask the Democrats out there as well that they care about America, to let's make sure we have accountability, but let's make sure we have an economy that's strong, a border that is secure, and preparing for our future. And that's something that we're doing right now with our Defense Department and the NDAA as we walk through to make sure our defense and our system is actually preparing people so we don't have to go to war instead of worrying about the wokeism that's tearing down our military today.
Well, and this is all reasons that a group of 21 House Republicans wrote a letter to you on Monday where they said we cannot support appropriations bills that will produce a top-line discretionary spending level barely below the bloated fiscal year 2023 level, effectively in line with the cap set by the debt ceiling deal that we opposed. Speaker, what's your reaction to the letter? What are you going to do about this? You are probably in for another fight down the road on debt levels.
Maria, this is just a new week in Washington, so that is no problem for me. I mean, no one has fought harder to actually curve money. No one has been able to secure and cut more money from government at any time. But the last thing I will ever do is to make sure that Pelosi's policies and priorities get locked in. Remember, the Democrats were in the majority in the House and the Senate and the presidency, and the things they put in the last appropriation bills were horrendous. And what we have found, if you end up in a continuing resolution where you do not pass your bills, you are not removing all those woke policies that Pelosi put in. So we're going to sit down together and we're going to find a way we move forward each and every time. But everyone in the conference is respected. But the one thing we've got to make sure is we pass our bills so we change what Washington is all about. Remember, the day I took over, we were able to open the House back up. Members now have to actually come to work. They can't vote by proxy. Bills go through committee. Members are actually able to read the bills, have 72 hours. It is a new Washington, and the thing that we are doing, we're disrupting this establishment here, and I will do it each and every day. But I am not going to allow Pelosi's policies to stay in law, and we're going to make sure we get our bills done.
Well, it looks like the people are with you. We've got a First on Fox Business report right now. Breaking news, Speaker, you're announcing record fundraising for the House GOP this morning. Tell us about it.
Well, we did very well in the last quarter, and what this is really about is very interesting. I had a person call me yesterday and say he wanted to help. And I said, well, thank you, but can I ask you why? He said, you know why? Because you're the first speaker I've seen that kept your word. You told us ahead of time what you were going to do, and every day I watch you do it, and you don't give up, even when adversity strikes. He loves the perseverance, and that's the exciting part. And I have independents and Democrats coming forward wanting to help grow this majority because they like that we're putting America first, that we're focused on the individuals. We're focused on changing Washington in a direction that people want to see, and that's what we're about. You've watched, in the 4 years that I was leader, we've won 5 more seats in California, 5 more seats in New York. We've won in Oregon, Arizona, places that Republicans were losing, but in the House, we were doing well. We've elected more Republican women, more Republican minorities. We have expanded this party. That's because good members with good policy, listening to the American public and not afraid to lead is making a difference.
Yeah, I mean, we've had many of them on. Juan Ciscomani was on just recently. I know that he's one of those people you're referring to. Mr. Speaker, what are you going to do with all this money, $62 million this cycle? What is the intent? How do you allocate that?
Well, it's to help the members in a tough seat and go win more seats from Democrats. Because I'll tell you, it looks like a lot of money, but the Democrats always have much more. The unions pay in, and we've got to win in tough seats, and it's in a presidential year. But those 2 election cycles of it, we have not lost yet, and I don't intend to lose now. I intend to gain more seats. Speaking
of, have you decided who you're supporting for the presidential election 2024?
I haven't, because I've been focused on here, but I will, and I like the way it's going. I think the American public looks and wants those President Trump's policies back. I think he's looking very strong. If you look at President Trump's numbers today, they are stronger than they were in 2016. If you look at his policies of how America was safer then, America was stronger economically from every aspect, it's a great contrast to President Biden. I think people are going to be excited at the way that we're going and the way we're growing, and we've been able to capture that majority and grow. A lot of work with President Trump, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with him. Well,
imagine if some of these issues were on Trump. I mean, the House Oversight Committee is going to receive a briefing from the Secret Service on cocaine found at the White House. The briefing happens tomorrow. Do you know anything about this, Speaker, in terms of where this was left, why we're not getting any information of illicit drugs at the most important house, the people's house?
Think about how far this White House has fallen from the last president to this president. Not only do you have people flashing in the Rose Garden, now you have cocaine being found, and they go quiet. You watch what has transpired. Remember what President Biden, when he was a candidate in October 2020, told the American public, that his family had gotten no money from China. Well, we've now proven that to be a lie. He said he had no interaction with his son's business. We now know that's a lie. We will continue to bring the truth forward, and I think the American public, when they sit down to make a decision, who can run the country better, who can make you more economically sound and strong, who can make the country stronger and the world safer, I think that's going to be an easy decision that they want to see the Republicans have the majority, not just in the White House, but grow the majority in the House and the Senate as well.
Speaker McCarthy, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.